Trauma Uncensored.
Trauma Uncensored.
Trauma Uncensored.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Trauma Uncensored podcast.
This is take two.
And by take
five,
two,
actually, maybe.
well,
but
no,
That's
this
true.
is take
Maybe it's
this
five.
is take two, and Brooke took that to mean literally take two.
Take two. We got about 25 minutes into it.
We're good.
Tried to.
We're
and
doing it
now
again.
We're just like we're just gonna do it.
we're
again.
ready now.
You know what? I'm
We're
just gonna
ready.
take ownership for it. That was my fault. And in this podcast, we take ownership for our own shit. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
me
to
doing
be
it.
fair, I decided that I wanted for this one, or I wanted to get up and get myself a non-alcoholic athletic beer. Did you
Athletic's
know
not a sponsor.
They're not a sponsor. But
They need to be.
Could be.
But they could be.
That's right. And they do need to be, because this is what I drink now.
That's right.
The non-alcoholic. But I decided I needed to get up and get this to celebrate the occasion of our very first outside guest, which I'm super excited is here.
Love it.
Thank
And when you
you.
say outside guest, what do you mean?
Well, not family.
Non-family, but
Because
it feels
I
like
like to-
it
I
feels
like
like
to-
family.
Well, yes.
yes.
Okay, let me rephrase then. She is family to us.
Is this me correcting you?
This is you correcting me. Look, I can walk
Ownership.
anytime. I'm done. I'm out the door. You left to get your drink earlier. I'm out the door.
Oh my God! This is gonna air a week after that, and you're still giving me shit for
We're
something
still
that
on it.
happened.
We're still on it.
I mean, it did happen this morning because we're recording on the same day. But Jesus! All right, go on. So who
What?
do we have here today? Well, who do we have here today? And then I'll tell people
well,
what the
to
podcast
clarify,
is.
when I say outside guest, I mean non-family. So far we've had Jess, who is my sister-in-law. We've had Jordan, and we've had Mallory on. So those to me are intricate parts of the podcast because they're part of the story, specifically to my story. But I'm super excited to share the space today with a dear friend of mine, Melanie Brockmeier-Jordy. Melanie and I met through a mutual friend. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Kat.
Again, hello, Kat.
Hey, Kat.
We said
we've
hi
already-
to you in the last one too. By
Yeah,
the
we
way.
did.
So
We said hi to you
got-
in the last one,
got
but we had
extra
to
love.
make
Make sure it made this cut too.
That's all right. But right after Logan passed, she linked us up with Melanie. Melanie has a nonprofit in Florida and helped us with some things, but we very quickly became friends. Going to brunch or going to breakfast at the brunchery. Do you remember that?
I do.
I do miss the brunchery.
Still here.
Oh, someday maybe I'll go back, but probably not.
Probably not.
It's in Florida. Anyway, so Melanie and I have been close friends over the past 9 years. There have been times that we've we've not been in constant communication, but it's always been something where we just pick back up, and it's so easy just to pick up where we left off. Melanie has been an amazing support, an amazing friend through our entire journey. She's who I looked to after Logan passed away, as someone I could lean on who had shared experiences. She helped us with our nonprofit whenever we had Living for Logan, which we no longer have specifically, but we still do work in his name and his honor.
Wonderful.
And she's been helping us quite a bit with the podcast as well, behind the scenes. That's not why specifically she's here. She is here because Melanie has an amazing story that needs to be told. One that is similar in ways to ours, but also very different. And I'm hoping is able to connect and reach others in her similar situation, and know that there are others out there, and we are available and reachable. And we just hope that Melanie's story helps.
For
Amen.
sure.
So for those of you who are listening for the first time and what this has to do with anything, Trauma Uncensored podcast, here we talk about Brooke's life and her family after and before a crash that occurred about 9 years ago to the day almost. Actually, we just had that last week's episode where it was the anniversary day of when her son was killed by a person who was driving on their phone, trying to do all sorts of different shit. If you want the full details on that, that'd be episode 1. Definitely go recommend it after this one. We talk about the fallout of that, the events that led to that, and just how to help people heal and carry the weight of trauma and grief and loss, and in any other way that trauma can show up. Not just specifically grief, but obviously surrounding your story, it kind of follows that a lot. And so if you like the show, please let people know, share this. If this speaks to you in a lot of ways, let us know. We actually get quite a bit of feedback from people about how this is impacting them. It's really encouraging to help us understand what people want to hear more about, and helps us kind of shape the content in a way that is beneficial for people who are listening to it. So if you like it, please leave us a review. It means a lot to us. It's the best way to support the show in a non-financial way. And of course, if you don't like it, then shut the fuck up. Don't tell anybody.
Turn off.
Yeah, go away.
Go away.
But also, we're sorry for whatever you're going through.
Yes.
So our guest, obviously we had to get Mel so we can hear the full story. Now, you've already told me the story, so I'm going to like pretend to be shocked and hurt again.
Okay.
Because the first time it was genuine. Now I have to be like, oh.
You know what, though? It is very important to let everyone know that this is airing on a very, on a very memorable date for Melanie as well. I am not going to tell anyone what that is. I will let you do the honors, Mel.
Yeah.
But this is so, we aired last week, about Logan on his angel date, and Melanie's is airing on a very important date for her as well.
Absolutely. And actually, I don't have to pretend, because this story was heavy. So I'm going to be like, again, it's going to hurt. And to try to get through that without crying like I did the first time, I will do my best. But if you have tissues in your car or at the gym or wherever you're listening to it, I highly advise them. So if you could give us a quick, not quick, just take your time, as detailed as you want. Like I said last time, I think the way you tell the story is so, like, I needed to know what was going to happen next. So I'm excited for you to hear it again. But if you could just kind of give us the story of what happened, and then we'll dig into some of the stuff that we want to share.
Sure.
For the episode.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me, for sure.
Of course.
Yeah. You're awesome.
I'm
We've only been trying to do this today for the past
4 hours.
hour and a half.
Mel and I go way back. We
go way back.
We went to separate high schools together.
Yeah.
That's big. Yeah. I think I heard that joke.
We went
somewhere.
to the kitchen together, whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. But for some reason. Yeah. But actually, I feel like I've gotten close to you, because we've had this tumultuous time recording. So
We have.
I feel like we have this shared trauma now.
A little bit of education goes a long way.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead. Tell us the story, please.
So Labor Day weekend of 2012, me and my husband, Leon, and our 2 children, Brody was 5 and Carson was 3. We were in Tallahassee visiting family, and we went out scalloping for the day. It was Labor Day. And we had decided to take, I think it was like a lunch break, and we dropped anchor in a sandbar, and everybody got out and was floating and swimming. And Brody and Carson were on the float, and the float kind of started to drift away from the boat a little bit. So Leon went to grab the float and bring it back over to the boat. And in doing that, he stepped on the anchor. And he didn't really say much about it. And then all of a sudden, fish started coming towards the foot, and he lifted it out of the water, and this toe right next to his pinky toe on his right foot was hanging off of his foot. So I'm like, okay, party's over. We got back in the boat. We put his foot in a cooler, and we were about 90 minutes outside of the dock. And so we got to the dock and went straight to the ER, and they stitched it up and gave him antibiotics and sent us on our way. The next morning, we woke up and his foot was extremely swollen, very red, swollen. So we drove home that day, and the next day called the doctor and went to the doctor. And the doctor took their Sharpie marker and drew a line around the redness and said, if it's bigger tomorrow, come back. So we woke up the next day, and it was about twice the size. So we headed back into the doctor, and she said, we need to do surgery immediately. The next day, we came back for surgery. The plan was to open the wound back out and let it heal from the inside out. So surgery went fine. He was in the hospital for a week monitoring the situation, the infection, and everything looked great. They decided to send him home on an IV antibiotic, vancomycin. And we went home it was a week after the accident, we went home. And we had home health, and they would come in on the mornings at 8:00 in the morning, and they would come home in the evening at 8 p.m. And just check, take temperature, look at the foot, make sure that, the antibiotics were going through the IV line the way that they were supposed to. And everything looked great. And at first, he did look great. He felt great. Everything looked great. It was Tuesday. They had delivered more antibiotics for the week. And that night, he started not feeling well. And he was complaining of really bad headaches. He was complaining of nausea, stomach ache. He was saying that his body felt really hot, took his temperature. He did not have a fever. The foot looked good. But we called his nurse and let her know what was happening. And she said she would call the doctor. She came back the next morning at 8 a.m. and looked at the foot, took his temperature, did everything, and said, everything looks great. And I went to work and told him, make sure you tell her that you're not feeling well. So she had called the doctor again that afternoon and called him back and said, the doctor thinks you have the flu. Unrelated, you've got the flu. Take Tylenol, take Benadryl, and we'll be back in the morning. So Thursday they came back. No fever, but still the symptoms were getting worse and worse. My mom came over. I had to work late that night. And so my mom came over to help him with the boys and took him out for his favorite meal. He loved pizza, called himself a pizza connoisseur, and went for pizza to his favorite pizza place. And my mom called me and said, he's not good. He didn't even eat any of the pizza. And I thought, that is so unlike him. He was 6'7". He was a big guy. He was training for a triathlon. So, a pizza was a treat at that point. So for him not to eat it was not like him. So I got home and we called the nurse again and said, Tylenol's not helping. Benadryl's not helping. He's not feeling well. The next morning she came back and just told us it's the flu. Nothing you need to do any different. I've talked to the doctor. Which I'll tell you a little bit about that more later. But that Friday night, we went to bed. We watched a movie and fell asleep at like 11 o'clock. At 2 o'clock about 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. I thought he was having a seizure. His body was convulsing. He was making a noise that I had never heard before. I tried to get his attention, kept calling his name, and he was unresponsive. I called 911, started CPR on him, and when I started CPR, I knew it wasn't good. He was very cold, and there was no breath. There was no heartbeat. There was no breath. Can you continue to do CPR? The ambulance arrived. I remember going upstairs. The kids were upstairs. I remember going upstairs, making sure that the kids were still asleep. And my oldest one woke up and he'd heard the noise, asked me what was going on. I said, it's okay. You're having a bad dream. Just go back to sleep. And I came back downstairs. I was sitting on the stairs and the EMT came over to me and told me that they were going to put him in the ambulance, but they could do just as much in the ambulance as they could at the hospital. So if they didn't leave right away, just know that they were working on him. My parents had come, so my parents were there at that point, and it took about 20 minutes for the ambulance to leave. And we followed the ambulance to the hospital, and they put us in a small room, and it didn't take long for about 3 doctors and 4 nurses to come in and kneel down beside me and tell me that there was nothing that they could do, and asked me if I wanted to go back and see him one last time. And it was just, it didn't make sense. I was 31, he was 33. Like I said, he was training for a triathlon. It just didn't make sense. They told us it was they thought it was heart related. But again, I knew that it just, like my gut, my intuition was telling me like this is connected somehow to the injury. This has got to be connected. So I went home. It was, I finally got home at like 6 a.m. I actually went to my parents' house and had to tell the kids. You know, that's a whole nother topic, whole nother conversation, having to tell your kids that their dad died.
Yeah, we actually had a whole episode about just that.
Yeah, totally. So it was that was a Saturday. The following Saturday was the morning of his celebration of life. And again, my gut is usually right on. My intuition was telling me that something else was going on with my body. So I had my cousin go to Walgreens and purchase every pregnancy test that you could possibly purchase. I needed a yes or a no double line, no pink, no nothing, just flat out yes or no. And I found out I was pregnant that morning of his funeral with our third baby. We weren't trying. It was not in the plan. So yeah, during that week, just the way the universe works, he was in commercial real estate and he was supposed to have a meeting the Monday after he died with one of his clients. And obviously he was late, didn't show up. And his client sent his secretary to a deli in downtown Tampa and said, just grab us some sandwiches. I'm sure by the time you get back, he'll be here. And she was waiting in line. And the gentleman in front of her got a phone call, and all she heard him say was like, Leon Brockmeier? And he hung up the phone, and she's like, I don't mean to be nosy, but I heard you just say Leon Brockmeier. Do you know him? And he said, yes. And she said, well, do you know where he is? He's supposed to be, actually, I'm supposed to meet with him right now for a meeting. And he looked at her and said that he had died on Saturday. So she rushed back to the office to tell her client, and he called me right away. And that man, talk about an angel on earth, that man called me and asked me what had happened. And I told him, and I said, but this just, something's not right. And he said, absolutely, he knew Leon. He said, this is impossible. This is impossible. And he right away said, I've got you, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. And it took about 3 years to get to the bottom of what really happened. But we now know that when the new antibiotics was delivered on that Tuesday, vancomycin is a really strong antibiotic, and they were supposed to dilute it 50% with saline and did not. They forgot. And so he was poisoning his body with every dose that he took, and his organs started to shut down one by one. And the last was the heart, and it gave up on September 22nd.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am so very curious how, and I mean, I get that we're all human. Everybody's human. But how does a mistake that large happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Well, I know you can relate to this, Brooke, sitting through depositions after deposition after deposition. And when the time came to go to court, hearing the depositions, that was the first time I had heard how this actually happened. And
so you were unaware until then about the poisoning?
I knew
until the depositions?
I knew that that's what had happened. It's called red man syndrome when you're overdosed with vancomycin. So I knew at that point it did, but I had the same question, how does that happen? That doesn't even make sense to me how that happens. And so we did find out through all of depositions and investigations that on that Thursday, when the nurse had called again to the doctor, that doctor then put in a phone call to the pharmacist through the hospital. And the pharmacist did find out that they forgot to dilute the antibiotics. Had they all circled back with each other and called us and told us, hey, we know what's going on. Take yourself straight to the emergency room, and he may still be here. But they were trying to cover up mistakes and chasing their tails, and we had no idea.
Shit. So,
we had no idea.
Okay, man, I have so many questions. So many questions. Okay, so first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I know it's been a long time, but that's never inappropriate to say, as we've learned on this podcast.
And I know the story, and I'm still sitting here.
It's crazy.
Clenched.
It's crazy.
And
It's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because you can only, I mean, at least for those of us who have emotions, you can only listen to that story and like kind of empathize of like, you picture I picture Bree like going through something like that. And
Yeah.
I can't, it makes me want to weep. Like that is, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess, holy shit, I don't even know where to start.
So much, I know.
Okay, so question number one. When you find out, can you walk me through like the day? Because you knew something, when you know something's wrong, especially with something so, I mean, this is life and death. Like, you know something's wrong with like your mortgage or the bill that you got from there. And then when you get proven right, you're like, that's right, motherfuckers. I knew it. You were charging me $70 more than you were. Like, right. It feels like a relief because you knew when you know something that in your heart is wrong.
Yeah.
They're telling you it's all fine. And then lo and behold, you were right.
Yeah.
There's a feeling. I can imagine. Can you walk me through like what emotions you felt when you realize, because this is different than Brooke, right? Brooke knew right away how and what happened to her son.
Well, and remember the day that we sat through the deposition of the phone, the phone and guy analysis, whatever, inspector, whatever.
But you knew like right there that day. Whereas with Mel, it was like, I think this doesn't sound right. Like there's like this like mystery behind it, like, and so it's like a different way of. Man, I don't want to go through what either of you fucking went through because oh my god. But can you talk me through the emotions of the day that somebody like there had to have been a day where I don't know how many weeks or days had gone by since you had that gut feeling that something was wrong. This lawyer guy comes and helps you, and then at some point someone's like, "Oh, we made a mistake," and that comes to you.
Yes and no. So when Mac, his name is Mac Greco, he still is such an important piece of our family today. He is truly an incredible human.
Hi, Matt, if you're listening.
Yeah, he's amazing. So there was an autopsy done. And when I got the report back, it took about a week or so, maybe, to get the first autopsy back. And mind you, I had talked to the coroner's office because they do an interview. And so I had told them, and at that point, I mean, that happened maybe 2 days after he had died. I had an interview with the medical examiner, and, you know, I told her, I'd walked her through like the surgery and, you know, the complaints leading up to it. And I said, you know, he was 33 years old. He played college football. He played for the NFL. He'd been seen by the best doctors. If he had an enlarged heart, we would have known that by now.
It would have shown up a lot in so many different
it would have
places.
shown up. I mean, they did, for crying out loud, they did, when they put the PICC line in for the antibiotics before they sent him home, they did an x-ray of his heart. So, I mean,
it would have showed up. Yeah.
It would have shown up. So I knew like that was bogus.
He just had a Grinch moment the last week. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, right. It just grew. But did the antibiotics create an enlarged heart?
No.
So they mentioned enlarged heart.
Yes.
And it was wrong.
There was nothing actually there.
Holy shit.
So the original autopsy, I read it and I knew it was bullshit. In fact, they were saying that the main cause of this had to do something with the aorta. And in the fast forward. So let me take a minute. So got the original report back. TMI, he would literally come down and kill me for saying this, but I think it's an important piece of this, is when I knew for sure that they were wrong. You know, when you get the autopsy report, they describe the body what's supposed to be perfectly, right? So at the time of his death, he was 6'7", 232 pounds. They said he was 6'5", 260 pounds, and that he was uncircumcised. I knew none of those three things were true.
Oh shit. So immediately you're like, this smells.
Immediately I was like, what body were you looking at? Because that does not describe him in any way. So I knew right away. So I called the medical examiner's office, And I said, you're wrong. Like, I don't know what you looked at or who you looked at, but you need to look again because I'm telling you, this is wrong. And I said, I do not give you permission to release his body until you take a second look. I do not give permission. It was a couple of days later, I got a call from a funeral home that had him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They were fucking up left and right.
So much.
Ooh, that lawsuit must have been juicy.
Oh my God. So
not that that's what it's about, but still, like, goddamn, like, it's almost like they messed up and then they messed up about messing up, and then they messed up about messing up.
Are you working together to cover up just one big fuck up? Like,
and also, how often does this happen that they do it so smoothly? Like, it's that's a whole different episode.
Different episode.
But goddamn, this is insanity. Like, it makes you just question, like, this is supposed to be the people you trust. It's like like a racist cop.
And you don't know any better, right? Especially when you're in that level of grief and trauma. Mm-hmm. Like, you can barely think straight. Yeah. So it was honestly like a grace of God that my brain was working at any capacity to be like, this is not right. So our attorney we hired a guy out of Orlando, one of the best to do a second autopsy on him. And when I had gotten that report, that's when I knew something was really, really messed up, because as they had said in the original one, that the death was an enlarged heart, something with the aortic valve. The second autopsy told me they didn't even open his heart.
Oh, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Good job, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I knew, like, I didn't know I had no idea, what had happened, but I knew this was related, that his death was not what they were saying. And I would not stop fighting until I found out what was happening. But it wasn't until, I want to say, maybe a year into all of the investigations after that second autopsy, and we had the best of the best out of Northwestern University, Harvard, Yale. We had the best of the best. And after about a year, and so let's rewind a minute. So he died on Monday. Again, some things, this is how I know that he has guided me from the very beginning. I, without a doubt, know that he guided me from the very beginning. He died on Saturday. On Monday morning, I woke up and I called my mom and I said, we're getting in the car. And she said, where are we going? I said, we're going to every doctor who's touched him, and I'm asking for medical reports.
Yeah.
And I got copies of every single medical file that I could put my hands on. When I went to the last doctor, was the doctor who did the surgery, and I told her that he had died. She did not even know that he had died. So the doctor who did the surgery, who was the only competent doctor I felt like I dealt with through this whole thing, she had not even been notified that he had died yet. So I had gotten
that's insane.
Insane. Just absolutely insane.
Which is crazy, because like they would have like known to message that person to when they were treating him for the foot.
Ask a question,
right? Like for anything.
Maybe not. If they screwed up from early on, it sounds to me like they were playing ball game very,
very quickly. Early. I think they knew they had screwed up so bad. But
they couldn't have known that early, because you can treat Red Man syndrome,
you can treat it. You absolutely can treat it. But I think they had known that the communication that was supposed to happen didn't happen.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So you get all the records from the doctors, and like, so again, you're building this, like, you're pulling on this thread that's leading you to have more and more momentum to know that not only is there, clearly at this point something's wrong. Yeah. Clearly someone's lying. Was there like an aha moment where you're like, mother?
Yeah.
I'm going to sue you. I'll see you in court, bitch.
Yeah, there was. Oh. So, again, another episode for another day. I saw a medium. I know you already talked about it, but I did see a medium. Well, you kind of hit on it a little. I know you, so you kind of hit on it without saying it in one of your other episodes. You did. Yeah, and I thought to myself,
why can't I remember? You guys are telling me all these things that I've said.
Because we listened to your episodes.
Yeah. Well, I listened to some of them, but I have boundaries for others.
Yeah. So. I thought to myself when you were talking, I was like, whole new episode. I think it was on the spiritual one that you were talking about.
Now we're going to need you to be recurring guests.
So anyways, I had met with a medium, a very famous medium, the Long Island medium, actually. And she was incredible. And she had directed at the very end. We were not filming anymore. It was actually, all of this is on film. But we weren't filming anymore. And she pulled me over to the side and she said, "You have his medical records." And I said, "I do." And she said, "I need you to flip through them and just keep reading." And she's like, "I don't know what this means, but your clue is the color." And at the time that didn't make any sense to me. So I just went through the medical records over and over and over again. And I started comparing what I had against what I knew my attorney had. And there it was in one of the nurses' notes when they were calling back and forth before he died. One of the nurses told the doctor that she suspected red man syndrome. And that was the color that she was telling me to look for.
Boom.
So I found that in a nurse's note that I had that was not in what they had given to my attorney. And that we took it from there.
Oh my God. Okay.
So isn't there, I mean,
pull
is
your
there
hair
like
back a little bit.
separate, is there your hair?
Yeah,
Away
pull your
from
hair
the
back.
Sorry.
microphone.
Are you
that's
good?
all right.
Good? I just reminded you. Anyway, okay, so go ahead, Brooke.
See, there it goes again. I just went that way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I reach for my drink?
ADHD thing again, right?
Squirrel.
That's,
Okay,
I mean,
yeah. the to get you back on, maybe this will remind you. So the last thing Mel mentioned was the lawyer and her had different notes, and then you finally caught him up on
yeah. I was going to ask, I mean, when this came to light, was there an additional, I don't know, sanction for not providing the lawyer, the entire, the truity of the exact report or all the records?
Yes. So they were the physician and pharmacist and nurse involved did have disciplinary action. To my knowledge, they weren't fired. And
I would have thought they would have ended up in jail. They killed your husband.
I know. And so going back, you would ask me what my emotions were at that point. Sadness and shock had kind of left my body at that point. I was angry.
Just rage.
I was angry.
Absolute rage. I'd be fucked.
Truly, and still to this day, I feel like my husband was murdered. I really do.
Yeah,
on so many levels.
100% was. He went in because his toe was cut.
Yeah.
And he died from major organ failure.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't just accidentally happen to someone.
Right.
And again, it's treatable, which means that there was a point where they could have been like, yo, they were telling you it was the flu. They were dismissing everything from you. He was telling them it was getting worse. He was acting completely different. It would be a whole different conversation. It would still be murder, I think. But if your husband had been like an overweight, doesn't take care of himself, heavy drinker,
100%.
smokes a lot, whatever, and you're like,
non-smoker,
all of this checks out. No, we're talking about a person who was a professional athlete at the peak of training for a very high intensity, something that you have to be absolutely fit for.
Yeah.
And had been training all his life, who had been seen by top tier medical doctors.
The best of the best.
Because he was in the NFL. That doesn't get the only doctors that are more intense than that are like European soccer player doctors.
Right.
This is what it's like.
You're right.
It's the kind of healthcare you want to have anywhere. So there's obviously, the rage.
Well,
they murdered him.
I don't know that it surprises me that they didn't get fired, honestly, because
I'm surprised that they didn't go to jail.
Well,
I thought
here's
at the
the thing,
very
though.
least they're done practicing medicine. What the fuck?
After Andriotis hit us and killed Logan, his employer kept him on for a long time. They never let him go. And when I continued to question it, the curiosity arose, well, if they do that, then what are they admitting to, right? If they were to fire him, what are they admitting to? So if we were to fire these practitioners, this pharmacist, whatever, then there's an admission that comes up. And now was this... So they haven't probably to this day, but they sure as hell, if they haven't to this day, but they sure as hell weren't going to do it when there's a legal case going on, because then that just red flags everything and says, okay, well, we're guilty.
Well, so oh my God. Okay. There's so many questions that I think I'm going to do a follow-up with this after, but just to continue with the story. So you find this out, your lawyer gets all this information, and then do you both go fucking lawsuit now? Or like, or how long does it take for you to go, should we press charges? Because like some people have, there's like an actual fear of going to court because, especially when you're talking about corporate doctor lawyers, we're talking about these folks make a shit ton of money to cover their asses.
Yes.
Like half of the bills that hospitals pay are to insurance / law.
Yeah.
So
and they're very smart with their personal insurance too, I found out.
I mean, I figured. And again, that could be a whole different fucking episode.
Yeah, whole different.
Mel, just be a recurrent episode, or we just start you a podcast, whatever.
Brooke and I, we make a good team.
I know. Well, we've talked about it. Andres and I have talked about it. So, that's for another.
That's a different teaser. So there's some intimidation, right? Because I'm sure Mr. Greco, Matt, is awesome and a kick-ass lawyer, but it's still like it feels like David versus Goliath when that something like that. Although even though you have an open and shut case, so like what can you walk me through kind of what the or did you just say fuck it, we're going for it?
Yeah, we did. I mean, I trusted Mac the whole time. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what a lawsuit meant, to be honest with you. I had no idea. And the emotional toll that would take, I wasn't prepared for, but I knew that I needed justice somehow, some way. And it wasn't about the money. It was that this can't happen again. This just can't happen.
It's personal. It's not about money. It had nothing. There's no amount of money in the world who can bring him back. Yeah, that's stupid.
So,
nobody would blame you for, you are, let's be clear, you are owed a compensation for the fact that they did that, but that's not the point. The point is there's rage because you killed my perfectly healthy husband.
Rage. Yeah, absolute rage. And again, and now I'm also totally raging because I have a baby that I have to take
on top
care
of that, you were pregnant
alone,
and you're discovering this as you're growing a human. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, by this time Noah was around, right? By the time you started.
So by the time we started, no. So because it had been, obviously I found out I was pregnant and then we had 9 months. So I want to say like we knew probably 6 months in that this was going to be a lawsuit. So at the beginning, I was still very much pregnant with Noah, but by the time it was done, Noah was born and he was a baby. But yeah, I knew right away that there was no, we didn't know really what we knew Redmond syndrome, but it's really hard to prove. That's really hard to prove. But again, we had the very best of the best experts. Their only defense, the hospital and home health, their only defense was if my gut knew that something was wrong, regardless of them telling me it was the flu, I should have taken them to the ER. That was their only argument back. So
it's so very interesting to me as we talk about this, how much your and my story they aligned so much.
I tell you that all the time. Like our loss is different, but yet we align in so many freaking ways. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
We were told from the get-go, there's no standard, there's no precedent with people who, kill other people while they're using their phone. And we were told for years, be prepared for this to not go anywhere.
Right. And I forget what the statistics are now, but like the percentage of people who die from Redman is not big either. So it was
that's what I'm saying. There was several times where this could have been preventable. That's really where the overlap is between both your stories. Is there's so many different people who could have been involved that could have stopped it
that could
along
have
the way.
Changed.
And
one person who fucked it up more.
And we're not the type of people who just let it go to the side. Melanie knows how hard it's going to be to prove this. We knew how hard it was going to be to get any sort of conviction for something that, happens all the time and isn't prosecuted. And, but there is this drive, there is this passion. So many people had asked me after the trial was over, do you feel better? Do you feel vindicated? I'm like, I don't. I don't. He's still not here. It doesn't matter. And I had to put this in front of the public view, right? I had to show that this is something that is happening and it is not okay. Yeah. So, and I know, Mel's the same way. It's not that kind of neglect, and not just the neglect on his part or on Andreotis's part, but on all of those doctors, the doctors and the nurses. And I mean, to see that she suspected it. I mean, you would have thought that would have been,
that's your first clue to send us to the ER so they can give him proper care.
I mean,
it's crazy that they would tell you if you had it in your gut, you should have came. That's literally saying, well, if you didn't trust us, you should have not trusted us.
Yeah, right. Well,
even though we were supposed to be the people that you trust, and we probably talk to you in a condescending way because kind of some doctors do that.
I was just
sorry to my
but when they know, they know. I mean, when it came to the defense testifying, calling a witness, they didn't call anybody at the end of our trial because they just knew that the information was just so damaging. So I mean, what do you do? I mean, all the attorney did in our trial was address the jury and give them the handbook to the car that Andreotis was driving to show that it had Bluetooth in it. And, whatever technology. So to show he could have been doing, on Bluetooth or whatever, but that was it. They called nobody, because when you know that, I mean, he was doing his job, right?
Yeah.
And he also had to have known by that point, by the end of the week, that they just had nothing to stand on.
Yeah.
So they're going to grasp at anything that they can. And I think they're going to, they're going to try and turn it, but they already know whenever it's done and whenever the information's out there, they already know.
I mean, if the best defense that you have is that I should have known better when I'm not a nurse, then okay. Yeah.
Damn.
Sure.
So how long were you in court for? Like, how long did that go for?
So
it could have been a short little moment.
No, yeah. It was a 3-year process.
Oh my God. And then by the time that the verdict comes through, because there's that aha moment where you're like, I was right and I got you, motherfuckers. Now I need to prove it and we need to do this. And then you go through these proceedings. What was the fallout? I mean, obviously we know that the consequences were very slap on the wrist for the doctors and nurse or whatever, but was there anything else that happened? Did the hospital admit wrongdoing? Did they have to take some sort of what?
Yes. So
what's it like to win a lawsuit against a hospital?
Well, it was victorious in a lot of ways, because it was the first time that I was able to start to grieve in a way that made sense. Because for 3 years I had to relive by the time I testified, I could tell you the timeline to the second. I mean, not wanting to forget a single detail. And so having to relive that, and I know, Brooke, again, this is where we collide. I mean, having to relive the worst moment of your entire life over and over and over again, 1 million times a day for 3 years is a lot, So the fact that I could just, kind of release that at that point and really start the grieving process, that's an episode for a whole nother day too. But so I will tell you that they decided they did not want to go in front of a jury.
They were going to lose hard.
There's just no way. So it was at the time one of the biggest settlements outside of hearing or whatever you want to call it. But I will say a week later, we went back to the courthouse. Once you agree, you have to sign and go before the judge and all the things. And my attorney came out of the room and said, they want to talk to you. And I said, who's they? And they said, the opposing side wants to talk to you. And Mac, he said, I've been doing this for 40 years and nobody's ever asked to speak to the other party. And is that something you want to do? And the curiosity got the best of me. I was like, yes, I do.
Show me the faces.
Yeah, show me all you people, right?
I love you.
Yeah. So I did. I walked in and
that's awesome.
The lady
you got fucking ovaries, girl.
Yeah, I need you to all look at my face now and kind of own what happened.
Look me in the eyes and tell me you didn't murder my husband.
Yeah,
fucking
look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes. And they did. They did. The woman who's in charge of the hospital and home health insurance, she said, we are so sorry that we did this and we can't take it back. But we hope that going forward, that somehow, some way you use your life in a way that matters. And I want you to know that we own this mistake and we did this. And going forward, we will look at every system that we have in the hospital and at home health so this doesn't happen again.
Did they follow through?
I don't know. I do know. I do have a friend who didn't really know. This is a story that I've talked about a lot. It took me a while, but I've talked about it a lot now. But this was a friend. We weren't close friends at the time. And so she knew little bits and pieces of the story. And she was a nurse and she got hired by this company and had to sit through a 4-day training on home health in PICC line. And they started the training by telling my story. And she came home and she called me and she was like, hey, was it this company and this company and this company? And I said, yeah. And I said, why? And she told me that she had to sit through a 4-day training on this. And they start by telling our story.
I would love to hear the same thing happening with the company that hired Andreotis. Mm-hmm. Whenever we were in a similar situation where we sat in a room with the higher ups of that company during, we were trying to mediate and everything. And they told us, he said point blank, we want to do this for your son and we want to do this for your son and do this for your nonprofit, and even stood there and said, we can't put a price on, on your son's life. And then, Jordan, I ended up leaving the room and I could hear Jordan yelling because then they put a minuscule price on our son's life.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, you can go fuck yourself. I had to leave. And
a 12-hour day getting
don't
a
you
number
enjoy
that
those?
Made sense.
See, we never settled that way. Ours went so much further, which was awful because, we would go to mediation and walk away, and then it would take a month or weeks or whatever just to hear back from them, like this game that we're playing. And I remember calling Joe going, in the morning or texting him, I felt so bad, and I still feel bad that I did this, but my nervous system was so hijacked by this that I would be like, why the fuck aren't they coming back? Why haven't we heard anything? Why can't, and it kind of like what are you doing about it? Can't you just call them and, figure it out? And which actually kind of leads me to a question that I had for you.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't really thought about this until you started talking about this story in a deeper way than just surface level for my own self. But do you feel that your grief and your trauma, and I'm going to use the word hijacked because I do, or maybe we're taken hostage from the lawsuit and the trial and just dealing with that.
100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry. I was going to say, I was going to follow up with that because that was a crazy question. That's a crazy question.
Yeah, no, I definitely,
Can you explain what that feels like, or like what that?
Yes.
Oh man, this is insane.
I've met so many people who've gone through, loss of somebody that they love. And, although our stories are so much alike, I think the stages of grief, which are not linear. So anybody who thinks that the stages of grief are linear and it goes in the line that the textbook says, that's bullshit. So I do feel like it hijacked the grieving process because I wasn't really able to process the sadness really, because I was just so full of anger for so long. And I was on a mission to get to the bottom of what had happened. So the train wreck that occurred after the 3 years is when, when your body is in that fight or flight mode for 3 years, and my body was in the fight mode for 3 years. What happens to the body after you come out of that level of fight for 3 years is nothing that a textbook or what to expect when somebody dies book can prepare you for.
It is like carnage, right?
It
Inside
is.
of our bodies.
Yeah. I describe it where I felt like I was on a bullet train going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and out of nowhere, the train hits a wall.
That sounds like what Jordan used to say about me. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's hard, you know, and I don't know about you, but I was sitting there going, what the hell is going on? Well, like, I guess in the interim of it, I wasn't recognizing that all of the physical ailments and things that I was going through were directly related to that. And
100%.
I thought that once we ended the trial, once it was over, once there was a verdict, especially the way ours turned out, that I would go home and I'd be able to put it all behind me. But what I didn't recognize is all of those years building up and building up and building up, and they had nowhere to go. And that's when, you know, you wonder, I mean, I know I was grieving, but was I really processing?
I can definitely say I was not processing.
Because and you don't have the bandwidth.
No. And doing so many things that were not authentic to me to survive.
Well, what do you mean?
You know, just making decisions that my anybody in the right headspace wouldn't make. You know, I was not a good friend. I wasn't always a friend that I needed to be. You know, I would shut down and just block out everybody, including my kids. I was mean. I don't know. Like, I wasn't myself.
There needs to be grace in that too, because this is, I mean, you went through some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we've had this conversation before, especially early on and, you know, after the podcast started. And, you know, you told me all of this in response to something that I had said, I think about Mallory, about how I pushed her away because I was afraid. You know, what people don't realize is that, you know, there is no guidebook, there is no rule book, and you can't put expectations on someone who's just been through something horrific or has been going through something so traumatic like that and expect them to be the person they were before, or to just be bubbly, or I mean, until you've lived it, people they have no way of understanding the physical, emotional, and mental toll it takes to go through this. And not just the grief. Like, how many people get to, you know, walk forward with their grief in the moments after, right? They don't have the shit that you and I went through.
Yeah.
And here we are reliving it. And I don't know about you, but I learned that retelling it over and reliving it over and over again was worse for me than actually helping me. Right. You know, and that's something they don't tell you about. I had nobody there going, be careful, you know, it's just, and that's, I think, why we lost most of our community too, was because I didn't know how to talk to people. Yeah. You know, their lives are still moving. Mine had stopped. You know, how do you continue to just pretend like nothing happened and you go back to the way you were before? You can't.
Yep.
You just can't.
Completely.
Do you find that how can I ask this without fuck it. Do you find that do you find that when especially early on when that happened, because one of the things that you both have in common is that you lost someone, but it's more like someone was taken from you by something that you didn't do anything like to control. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't preventable on your end. It was something like life just said, I'm going to do this to you and let's see how you react. And then after that, there's also like a niche inside people, not that we're comparing bad to bad, but besides having to grieve someone and some loss, you on top of that had to be reminded of that and the details in a way that usually people don't have the experience, because it involved legal action. Compared, do you find that there's like the circle of other people who've gone through those specific chains, like how rare or how many people like Brooke / how many people like Mel have either of you met that both went through loss and then legal proceedings? Like that's even a more unique.
I think one.
I know.
It's just you two, right? Like I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Brooke had mentioned the nonprofit that I started, and I have met a lot of families since then. And there is one family who's very, very special to me, who they've lost 2 children, and both have had needed legal outcomes. They are tremendous people. But other than that, I mean, no.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, besides the fact that the grief is lonely enough, being a widow, being a grieving mother from a loss, those are lonely spaces. And then on top of that, it's that, but being a grieving mother or a widow that had to deal with the legal causes of that, that is like an even more unique group of people. So
it is. And
we're anomalies. We're definitely anomalies in the world.
It is. And I know, Brooke, you can totally understand this too. Like, you're under a microscope too, right? So during all of the investigations and the courts and all the things, like, you were under a microscope. Like there were private investigators following me. So along with, not feeling like I was handling things in a way, I mean, I had family that no longer was speaking to me. I had pretty much lost my best friend because I was not a good friend. And so the shame, right? I already was carrying so much shame and guilt. I had somebody telling me, even though I know it wasn't my fault, I had, people telling me for 3 years that if I just would have followed my gut and taken him to the hospital,
Say hi
it's
to your
feeding
dog.
time.
Sorry,
you guys are never inviting me back. It's official.
You know what? Actually, I take back everything I said. Also, if you're playing the Trauma Uncensored drinking game, anytime a dog's mentioned, you gotta take a drink.
I have to take a drink.
You have to take a drink. No, we do not promote.
We do not promote that.
No, we don't. No.
Drink out of your a non-alcoholic athletic brew.
Well, listen, mine's out, and I have another can sitting next to me, but I didn't want to be rude and pop it open while Melanie was talking.
No, it's totally, you go, girl. You do it.
Sorry.
You do your thing.
So
Sorry
now
to
I'm
totally
just drinking
derail.
No, it's okay. No, I was just saying, like, the shame, right? Like, you already feel so much shame and guilt for everything that's happening in your life, and then to be under that kind of microscope, and it's fucking exhausting.
Well, I brought it on myself with living for Logan. I brought all that bullshit on myself. So it's hard for me to understand it just being inflicted upon, because I was like, oh, hey, let's go change the world when I
know.
Don't even.
But you did it for all the right reasons. And this is what I say.
did.
Like, I've come to a place now where, I mean, do I wish that some things after his death had gone differently and I had done some things differently? Yeah, absolutely. But I did the best I knew how at that time.
Yeah,
I was
and that's all you can
surviving,
do.
and I did the best I knew how.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
So can you walk me? First of all, this is probably going to end up being longer than an hour. Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Listen,
I mean, it's been 2 hours. Really,
I know.
But, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on, trying to make this
Are
happen
we
for 2.5
like
hours
family
now.
now? This is weird. I don't
This
know what
is
to do.
weird.
You're invited to my funeral, both of you.
I'm
Okay,
going first, though. Remember?
No, dude.
Oh.
I'm gonna beat you to that so hard,
I
dude.
don't think so. We
I
had
just
this
got a motorcycle.
conversation
I just
earlier.
upped my ante.
Yeah, maybe you are.
Jesus.
Hey, I look.
That's my
really,
mom. That's my mama.
I look real cool.
That I have no doubt.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, let me ask you about this. Can you talk to me about, like, as a mom, there's like 3 different aspects, right? You have a kid who very much remembers dad.
Yep.
You have a kid who vaguely probably remembers dad, and then you have a kid that never met dad.
Yes.
Walk me through that, years later, and how that affects
parenting. That is a loaded question.
Nice job, Andres.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. Am I here for just to look pretty on the wall?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So
You blend right in.
my oldest, he was 5 at the time, and he's a very bright kid. I feel like at 5 he processed this more like a 10-year-old would. Him and his dad were best friends. I mean, best friends. There was no I mean, boys only group. So my oldest one, you know, tried telling him that his dad died. His best friend had died the day after he died.
Oof.
There are no words for what that felt like. And he has memories, a lot of memories. And right away, he was in therapy right away. Carson, my middle one, he was 3. And, you know, sadly, I don't think he has any memories. I think the things that he remembers are pictures and things that we talk about, because his pictures are in my home. We talk about him every single day. We say his name multiple times a day, and we will forever do that. So he says cool. That he does remember some things, but I'm not so sure, really.
There's probably like a sense of security. Like he probably remembers the feeling of his presence and stuff like that, because kids hang on to that pretty hard. He remembers
that feeling. He remembers, you know, so many nights crying and, you know,
him being dad,
me not letting them out of my bed and all the things. The last one, the baby, Noah, he is now in 7th grade. And, you know, it is an ever-changing conversation with him because, you know, at first, so this is crazy. So I never really, not really. Like I said, we have pictures in our home. I never ever pointed at the picture when he was a baby and said, this is daddy, dada. I mean, confusing, right? Like I wasn't sure how to navigate all this with a child who didn't know their dad. So I just kind of like let him lead the way. And when he asks questions and when he wants to know things, we kind of handle it as it comes. I don't think there's a handbook on how to do it.
Oh, you didn't read it?
No, I mean, I maybe write it. I don't know.
New York Times bestseller.
Yeah,
you should.
I know, right?
Can you write the handbook?
I can't believe
I would buy it.
I can't believe you didn't read it.
I know.
It would have been way easier if you
what to expect when you're expecting, that wasn't a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What to expect when you're expecting to not be expecting.
Yeah, exactly. So when he could start talking, he would look at the pictures and he himself would say dada. So whatever happens, you know, I think kids are so much more open to whatever is in between here and wherever our loved ones go.
They're still downloading. So they're still downloading in. So the spiritual side is still coming in.
You know, what you said the other day, Brooke, I'll remind you what you said, energy never dies and that energy has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. That is 100% what I've said from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. I have a better thought and feeling of what that looks like now, but there's energy. Mm-hmm. That's what we know. Energy doesn't die. And so Noah knew from the beginning. He would look at pictures. There were times that he would look at the picture as he got older. I think it was like 3.5. He pointed to the picture and he said, "That was the gray man in my room last night."
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. So the conversation for Noah has definitely gotten different as he's gotten older because, he's gone through the, why didn't I know my dad?
Yeah.
And he refers to him as Leon. He doesn't, rarely does he talk about Leon in the sense where he calls him my dad. So that always I know that kids have to process this and deal with it, what makes sense for them. So I've never corrected him on any of that, of course. But it kills my heart. It kills my heart. And I'll be honest. For the first 3 or 4 months after I found out I was pregnant, I was pissed. I was really pissed. I was
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's
fine.
The
fuck takes my husband and then gives me a kid. That is so mean. That is so cruel.
Some joke, huh?
This is really a joke. I just knew there was going to come a day I was going to wake up and it was Leon was going to walk in the front door and be like, "Gotcha." Joke's on you.
Yeah. Reminds me of that Dave Matthews song where he talks about somebody's, the soldier's last breath as baby's being born. You're like, oh, it's just more talking about how the it's not good or it's not bad. Like, how do you even quantify what that even means to a person's life?
I know.
Right? But it's like, it's just the way that life works is just so.
It's so
ironic. Is
ironic
that
and crazy and messed up and beautiful and all the things all at once.
Yeah, it's a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
but
yeah,
also,
but
just amazing.
and this kind of, I mean, ties into what we've been talking about all along too. It's being able to recognize, being able to look back in hindsight and seeing these breadcrumbs and these events that happen and how they lead to the next and lead to the next.
Yeah,
totally.
And again, while we're not, we don't wish that would have happened, finding gratitude in what has happened because of, right? There's that word because again, that is a gift if you should choose to see it,
Totally.
and 4 months, I mean, obviously 4 months later and you're angry at that, there's nothing, there's got to be grace in that because that is just being human. It's just being human.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. I have another question.
Okay.
He's so giddy.
I love learning about people and it's so inspiring. So thank you for both of you. Like,
absolutely.
I'm like, I get to do this for a living because
absolutely.
It's hard though, but it's so like
rewarding.
It's rewarding. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I have two questions actually.
Okay.
Both are dealing with aftermath, but I used to work in life insurance for a long time. So were you guys prepped in that way? I know this is more of a technical term. And then what did you learn about that? Because there were so many times, and I'm going to preface this, there were so many times when I would talk to people about the importance of life insurance, especially and I don't know if you were working or if you were stay at home or what your situation was.
Yeah, I was working at the time. Yeah.
So there was some income coming from your side, but when you lose a spouse, the burden emotionally, tough. The trial and the court, tough. And then on top of that, there goes half the income. So what happens to our house? What happens to our lifestyle? What happens to our, there's this added stress of financial burden. A freaking funeral costs 10 grand on the cheap end. If you cremate, it's 6,000. And these are like things that people don't ever want to talk about. When I was dealing with clients, they would be like, I don't want to think about my child dying. I don't want to think about my husband passing or my spouse passing. And it's like, I know you don't. That's why we need to talk about this because it might never happen. You might never use this life insurance policy, but if shit happens, if you have this taken care of, imagine some relief in your life comes because you're like, okay, at least financially we're okay. That alleviates some of the stress. Yeah. Were you guys prepped for that? If you weren't, can you talk about what you've learned since and how that's affected you? How did that contributed to stress? Also,
and I would love to know if you were just as appalled as we were whenever we had to pay for our death certificates.
Yeah. And then they tell you how many you need. And I'm like,
why do I need that many?
I'm sorry. Wait, this isn't free. This is not, this piece of paper is not free.
You would think that above everything else that you have to pay for in life,
I know,
death certificates
should be free.
I mean,
isn't a birth certificate free?
No.
Is it not?
We had to pay for.
I feel like you have to pay for it if you lose one, but
for Rio we had to like pay to get out of the hospital. Yeah, but it was not that much. I think it was like $100 or something. It wasn't not terrible.
Well, that should be free too. That's dumb.
I know. It's like
that's stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
So no, to answer your question, we were not prepared for that. But I want to preface this by saying it wasn't. Okay, so we have family who does not speak to us anymore. And
neat.
I don't, again, this happened about maybe 9 months after he died. And I had actually made a post on social media about the importance of life insurance, because we did not have any. And, I've told Brooke, relationships with family after a death, that's 5 episodes. I could talk about that.
Yeah.
For sure. But I can't be sure why, that cut from some of the family happened, but, I remember they got really mad about my post about not having life insurance. And, I don't, maybe they felt like I was shaming, Leon, for being a man and not, and not doing that, which listen, we were cutting pennies every way we could at that point. He was in commercial real estate, the market. This was,
2012.
It was just starting to maybe pick up in 2012.
It was just coming back. And in commercial real estate, he was an apprentice. So he wasn't making a lot of money. And I was, but he worked his ass off and he was amazing. And he was going to be amazing. He was amazing at his job before he died. But
they got him out of the game too early for all the reasons.
I know. But yeah, we had 2 babies and we had a house that we bought it in 2006. So you know what the housing market did in 2006.
So your house went. You lost all of the value that you could have had financially was as at the wrong place, as at the wrong time as it maybe could have been.
Oh my gosh, our house where we had bought a condo and the condo turned to Section 8 housing.
Great.
So we had to do a short sale and all the things, right? So we were just, it was bad. Financially, it was just bad. We were,
jeez, man.
So we were just trying to cut pennies wherever we could. And that was one of the first things that we cut. Like, we're not going to need this. We're 33 and 31 years old. We don't need this. So no, we were not set up for that. I'm not shaming Leon at all. We made that decision as a married couple. We both didn't think that we would need it, and we did need it. So it is a topic that I'm actually very passionate about.
Same.
Because you never, ever know.
Buy term, don't buy whole life, but we can talk about why that's important later on.
Well,
Also,
we talked about this, the importance too, if we want to talk about life insurance, and people do not want to hear this. We've talked about it before.
Yep. They don't.
But having a rider on your children
absolutely
is absolutely
100%
needed. I mean, God forbid you ever need to cash it in, and it can become, like a savings plan, or when they turn a certain age, they can cash it in, right? But
I have a rant about this.
I can't even begin to describe how much in that time the rider that we had for Logan helped us financially to do. I mean, because even though we didn't have a funeral, we still had to pay all sorts of costs. And Andriotis had absolutely no fucking insurance. He was worth $10,000, which I think went straight to covering someone's car or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe we got a smidgen of the check. I don't remember, but he just had the minimum that Florida required. Mm-hmm.
Can I do a rant about this?
Oh, go for it.
Oh my God.
It depends.
I just worked in this industry for so long that, again, if you have questions about why whole life is worse than term, that's a whole.
We're gonna lose people.
No. This isn't the rant. That's not the rant. I'm just saying come talk to me right into the show. Literally, if you actually want an explanation, I'm no longer licensed, so I can tell you without bias. So you can be like, he's trying to sell me something. No, I can. That's a whole conversation. Pin that later on. Message me. Children riders. Okay, this is like significant because people hate thinking about these kinds of things, which is why sometimes I think people have a hard time maybe listening to a podcast like this, because it's hard to think. Like I'm telling you, like you sit, because we're human, the only thing you can do is empathize. And so you listen to Brooke's story, you listen to Melanie's story, and you're like, I don't want to think about, like, it's a sunny day, it's pretty out, I'm looking nice, and then I'm in my ears and I'm driving to work and I have to hear about this a child dying or a malpractice that kills a husband. Like, that's a tough thing to listen to. Believe me, people, fucking deal with it. Because when you don't have a child rider, here's what ends up happening. And this happened to some clients who I had, or like, not, they weren't my personal clients, but we had in our office when we were working, where their children died because of different reasons. And so it costs $10,000 to bury someone, plus all the costs you're mentioning, Brooke. Where are you going to find that money? You know what you have to do? You have to take a loan out. And then you have to finance your child's funeral.
Yeah.
And then for the next however long years you have this loan out for, you're just watching that bank account go and pay for that funeral, and just consistently remind you of this. Like, it's just like a poke in the eye that you get like once a month. Just, there you go. Fucking feel that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Be responsible with your freaking finances and cover yourself and cover your spouse and cover your kids. And it sucks to think about, but that's part of fucking adulting. Right. Figure it out and deal with it. End of rant.
Yep. Amen.
Oh, it's rough.
I know. Well, but again, these are things that people don't want to talk about. And that's why we're here, is to say, you know
talk
what?
about it.
Well, it's more of like we can't live continuously under this bubble of, unawareness and, expecting everything to always be perfect, because guess what? Everybody experiences something that is traumatic, and you do not skate by in this life without loss. God forbid it be something like Melanie and I have gone through. But everybody's going to face loss. You know, it is not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
Unless you happen to be the person to go first.
Yeah.
Right? And then it doesn't matter.
Lucky you. But on the other hand, like, because it's the thing, how many different times do people that went through something similar, how many of you guys have said, I never thought it was going to happen to me? Everybody that it happens to says that shit. But statistically, why not you? Of course.
Why not? Yeah.
It could happen to you.
There is no such thing as invincibility.
No.
Period.
No. And here's the thing. If you spend all this money on financing or prepping for stuff like this and then nobody dies, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
I think I would tell you right now, Brooke and Melanie would trade you places.
In a heartbeat.
And have spent that money anyway. Because goddamn, it's like, there's no amount of money. It's not going to fix it, but imagine the stress relief for both of you. Well, I guess we have an example. Brooke did have the writer, and can you imagine how much more stressful on top of all the shit we've talked about for 20 episodes if you had to take a loan out to pay for this shit?
Yeah.
No.
And on the other hand, Melanie knows from a personal standpoint, that's how it happens. And then there's no money to that. You have to replace that income. Yeah, it's so difficult.
Yeah,
it's so
I know.
difficult.
Thank God for my parents. I mean, they're my lifeline on, literally everything, emotionally, mentally, but they, I was lucky that I had parents who could help me, but not everybody has parents who can help you.
Not everybody has that.
And we were in Florida hanging out all by ourselves. We didn't have any family near.
Yeah.
And we were very, very gratefully the preschool that Mallory went to, after Logan died, allowed Mallory to go there, and they didn't charge us for the entire year.
By the way, they just emailed us.
Who did?
Pretty sure that preschool just emailed us, literally while we were recording this.
I wish. Well, listen, I love them to death, and they've got a bell out there for Logan in the center courtyard, and
they emailed us a picture and everything. You want me to read it out? It literally just came in. I saw it. I did a quick skim.
Are you kidding? You
No.
have to be joking.
No.
Right now?
No, they just literally the Trauma Uncensored podcast.
Name.
Hold on a sec. I just had it open.
That's that, and I don't believe in coincidences.
Kelly Foss.
There's no such thing as coincidence.
Kelly Foss.
What's the
FOSS Foss at about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but what's the
They have a picture in Loving of Logan Shearer, and there's a picture of a tree, and the email says, "Hi Brooke, I work with the office of Sims."
His elementary school.
Oh.
The tree that they planted. Well,
I've been there.
My mother-in-law planted it, but
I've been there since the school opened in 2001. I remember Logan and Mallory. I especially remember Mallory and her having to come to school in a wheelchair. I love the episode where she was a guest. It was wonderful to see how beautiful of a young lady she has become. I just want you to know Logan will always be a part of Sims Elementary. I listen to every week to your podcast. I'm so glad that your family has come such a long way since September 5th of 2016. You will make an amazing therapist. God bless your family.
For sure.
Riverview, Florida.
That's a whole other episode.
I love that.
Currently, jumping through all the higher academic hoops to.
I thought it was the same school, but that's why.
No. But no, that was Sims Elementary was where they went to elementary school, and then before Mallory ended up at Sims, she was at Children's Castle. Wait a minute, I'm losing my mind. I don't remember. There were so many. So many.
We just lost your face too.
Oh yeah. Because guess what I'm getting?
A phone call?
Let's see if it pops back. Now I have my shit on Do Not Disturb, and it still rang through.
It's because when they call you twice, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait for you to fix that. But I do have a follow-up question because I have some... Mal, I'm so sorry.
I know. See? You just have to bring me back.
We will. Listen, there's nothing that says this isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and I really am encouraged.
No, my story doesn't change.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so can I ask you one more question, or are we all constrained for time? Brooke,
I'm not crunched for time.
I may be out of the video for the rest of it without...
Here, I'll just remove you from the studio for a second, and then you can just fix it, and I'll drop you back in.
Got it.
But you can still hear us. Okay, so question.
Yeah.
So if one of us a follow-up from a financial standpoint, okay, What about like, how did your perspective on like when you go to the doctor now, or like if your kid's sick and you have to go to the doctor and stuff, like how has that changed for you, like trusting doctors again and all that? Cause there has to be like, there had to have been like some sort of like a hesitancy for that and stuff.
Yes, 100%. So, the doctor's offices are a trigger. Ambulances are a trigger. Hospitals, major trigger. Well, so the week after Leon died, the stress that Brody was going through was so intense. He had an abscess that he got, and it was horrific and painful. And I had to take him to the ER. This was a week after.
Shit. Oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah. And, Brody had remembered seeing the IV bags in her house. And so when I took him to the ER and they hooked him up to an IV, he started screaming at the top of his lungs, and he was terrified. And he just kept saying, I'm going to die too. Daddy had that bag and I'm going to die too. And this was literally like 5 days after Leon had died. So the doctor is a big trigger for Brody too, going to the doctor. And, it's hard. It's like, how do you get back in a car? It's hard to trust, everyday things again. I will say that I would say for my whole life, my gut is usually 99% right. And I never question my gut anymore. If I go to one doctor and I'm like, I don't think so, I'm going to the next. I'm doing my own research. I'm, all the things. I'm talking to people. I have friends who are doctors. Like, I'm getting all the information, and that is still to this day how I operate when it comes to a doctor. And I, you can fight a lot of things with exercise and food and breath and all the things. So I don't run to the doctor for everything either. If it's a cold or a sinus, like I'm going to pump that out. I'm going to get through it. But yeah, it's hard. It's certainly a trigger, and
Jeez, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
One thing that Tara, my trauma therapist, had told me, I don't know if this brings any sort of help or light to those types of situations. I'd started something new, and I was excited about it, right? I was excited about it, and I was jumping on board with it. And yet all of my previous traumas and triggers kept wanting, like, my body, it kept wanting to drag down my body. And so I went in and I was like, listen, in my mind, in my rational mind, I know, right, that this is not that I am doing something different, that I'm in the now. But why the fuck doesn't my body align with it? And she told me, she said, the more you do it little by little, and your body is shown that it's safe, the more you will stop reacting to those, triggers, those experiences,
right,
those similar experiences. And it's still something that I go in and I tell her, I'm like, or ask her, I'm like, well, I don't get it. My body just will not catch up to my rational mind. It automatically
goes back.
And I find that I've been able to do certain things and it may not be easy, but I've also learned that there's no moving forward if I don't allow myself to push through, like some of those fears. And I think just little by little things start to ease. Like this podcast, when I first started this, talking about all of that, I mean, I was a mess, right?
Yeah.
And I still can get anxious about it. But my body doesn't dysregulate for the rest of the day like it did in the very beginning, because I can come here and I know that this is a safe space. And yes, I'm going to talk about trauma. And yes, I'm going to talk about pain and hard things. And on the other end of it, it is safe. There isn't any anything that's going to harm me. So it just little by little.
I love you.
I mean, it comes with work, right?
You're great.
Comes with work. I mean, it wasn't always like that. That's for sure.
No.
And honestly, you and I have talked about this, Brooke. It's one more place that we align. I mean, September 22nd will be 13 years since Leon has died. And, you know, I will honestly say, like, the real healing for me has happened within the last 4 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean,
so that first bit was just.
But is it that it really happened in the last 4 years, or is it or is healing maybe kind of a roller coaster curve that just kind of keeps going up exponentially? So like it seems like the biggest jumps were the last 4 years because it sits on a foundation of all that work that you did in the first four. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it like?
Yeah, and I definitely think that probably part of that is true. But I, for a long time, didn't do the work. I'll be honest. So in my old life, what I call my old life, before all this happened, I was a mental health counselor. And so part of all of this, when I went through all of this, I was like, I don't need to see anybody. This is what I do. I can do this. Like, I'll be fine. I can do this. And so that's the story, the narrative I told myself for a long time. And then I put every ounce of focus that I had into helping other people that were going through something bad. And I just continue to stuff myself, not I wouldn't say recognizing, but not admitting that I needed more than just my primary care doctor to try to give me whatever antidepressant and anti-anxiety medicine flavor of the week.
We literally
he did the best
just talked
he knew
about
how,
this.
but he's not a psychiatrist. So I, had been on every type of medication and it wasn't working. So I want to say, yes, I worked my ass off for the first 8 years, but I honestly, truthfully can say that.
Well, you just didn't intentionally do it.
No, I didn't. You're right. No.
But work is getting up the next fucking day.
It is.
You know
It is.
what I'm saying?
And
like, I just want, there's people who are listening who maybe just went through loss a year ago and they might feel like they're not working, but it's like, listen, if you fucking open your eyes and you brush your teeth and you wipe your ass, that's a win.
So.
And the word of caution.
And that's work. That's work.
Word of caution against doing everything to stuff along the process is that guess what? That shit ain't going away.
It doesn't work.
It's gonna come out.
It doesn't work.
When it wants to come out, and
it explodes eventually.
It's better to get it out on your terms than its terms, because when it does it on
100%.
its terms, it is fucking messy.
100%.
So again, I'm not trying to invalidate your feeling of like 4 years.
Right.
I'm
You're
just trying to
right, because people will ask me all the time, like, how did you what do I do? Like, what's the first step I do? And I say to them all the time, my first answer is make small goals for the day. And those goals eventually will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So at first, the goals that I would set for myself are brush your teeth. Take a shower. Yeah. And I would do it and I celebrated the hell out of it. And then there would be days I didn't meet the goal. I mean, there were days the goal was get from your bed to the couch, like just move. Go cry from your bed to the couch. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, the process, like I said, grief is not linear. It's a mess. The book will tell you all the stages. That's bullshit. You'll go through all the stages, but not in order of any sorts. And you'll go through one and you'll come back to the other one and then you'll go like it's
or it'll
all
be
over
the same
place.
one, but it hits you in a different way.
In a different way.
It shows up.
100%. Like, I
because
still
you've
get mad,
changed,
but
things have changed.
the anger's different.
Yep.
Yeah. Would you say that you channel that anger now into something good for people?
I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now for sure. Ooh. Yeah.
Sorry, that was just a little side thought.
It's kind of like when you're lifting, like power lifter. I mean, and I've never been a power lifter, so I can't imagine. But if you try to lift 200 pounds or whatever, 2,000 pounds, whatever they lift, like if you're trying to do like full blown, like full competition on the first day, start with the dumbbells, start light.
Exactly.
But at some point, you're going to be able to lift 100 and you're going to go, whoa, I lifted 100 today. And that's going to feel like the biggest thing you've ever done in the last 12 years. But then there'll be a day where you're doing 300 and you go, man, I was doing 100. But it'll feel, because of the recency bias of how much work you've done, that's where it's kind of like in music too. This is another analogy. People are like, you're an overnight success, but what they don't see is the 9 years you spent practicing the guitar and your vocals and all, writing the shitty songs that you had to write to get to these good songs. But all of that included the work, and people don't see that. And it's with something of this nature, it's especially darker because it is such a dark cave that you're in that and you're just digging to look for some sort of fucking stream of light, and it just doesn't seem like there is. So when you first see one, it's blinding.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like you're making any progress because you can't see how far you've come. But damn, if you're in this right now, trust us. I mean, I haven't lost something like you guys have, but I had my own trauma, and I can tell you right now, it fucking changes. This too shall pass, and you will.
It does.
Find
it does.
again.
And I didn't give myself enough credit when I said that earlier. Like, I didn't do the work. Like, I did the work. I don't give myself credit sometimes. I did do the work, and I think, I don't know. Like, I just feel like if this is new to you, if grief is new to you, you are doing the best that you can.
Yeah.
You are doing the best that you know how. You were not born with the skills to navigate trauma like this.
Correct.
You're doing the best that you know how.
Yep.
And some days is better than others. Some days you feel like you're taking 18,000 steps backwards. And then some days you feel like you just took 2 giant leaps forward. Like, it's not linear.
It is not. Yeah. And I do believe too, because when you said, you weren't doing the work, or that it, is just in the past 4 years, it's hard for me to see it being that black and white, because I think we're all who are participating and allowing themselves to do the work, even if it doesn't seem like we can sit here and be like, I've figured this out, until years down the line, or I'm in a better place now years down the line. Each time you do that work, you're taking little nuggets from it, whether you recognize it or not.
You're right.
And there's going to come a point where you'll be able to look back and realize you couldn't have learned this skill, or you couldn't have been here and done that without knowing or having that experience, in the past. So, because I'm, you hear me say a lot on here, it's only been the past little over a year that I've been able to, sit here, and I know my convictions, and I know what I want to say, and I know what I want to do, right? Like helping people, changing the vernacular around trauma and grief and mental health awareness and all of that. I'm so very passionate about it.
Yeah.
But not all that long ago, I was trying to take my own life.
Yeah.
And because of that, it led me to this thing, which led me to this, and so it's like, it's just these little minor building blocks that will take you there. You just have to, I hate saying this.
I know.
I hate saying
it's
this,
cliche,
but you have to,
right?
you have to trust the process.
I know. Ew, I hate it. I know.
Jordan hates the word trigger. He hates the word trigger.
I know he does. I
have gotten to loathe the phrase trust the process.
I know.
I'm like, because everybody says it now, and people don't even use it in the correct manner. I think that's why it annoys me, because, trust the process that I'm going to get a homecoming date. No, that's not fucking trusting the process.
Yeah.
That's
There's
a
no
hope,
process.
right?
Yeah. I mean, and I will say, and I think you touched on this in one of your last episodes, and I used to feel so much guilt for saying what I'm about to say now. I don't feel guilt about it anymore, but I used to. I like where I am today, despite despite all of the shit and the sadness and the anger and the trauma and my world literally getting flipped upside down. I really like where I am today. I like who I've become. And hadn't I gone through my journey exactly like I have, I would not be sitting here talking to you today.
Amen, sister. Do you find too that with that introspective awareness, do you find that when certain situations come into your life now, you're able to look at it, and I mean, things may still create a lot of anxiety or sadness or grief, but you're able to look at it and say, you know what? I just have to let go of the control. I can feel my feelings.
Yep.
Right. I can feel all of this, and it sucks, and it can suck so horribly. And I know that if I follow the breadcrumbs, it's going to lead to the next place I'm supposed to be, or the next person I'm supposed to meet, or next thing I'm supposed to be doing, or next revelation that I have that helps me find my true self again and live my true self.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. 100%. 100%. And I just want to like throw this side note in there too, for those of you who are listening, who are new to this journey. Because I remember listening to people like us that first little bit, and I'm like,
fuck you.
Like, fuck you.
Big
like,
fuck you.
I'm so not there yet, and I don't think I'll ever be there. Like, you sound put together, and like you've got it. You figured it out. I will never. My pain is so deep and so dark. I will never be like, I can't relate to you because I will never be there. I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Ditto.
I know you did too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think when I hate the line, trust the process, I feel like what I want to convey is you will not always be stuck where you're stuck right now.
Yeah.
I know it feels like you are in a dark hole so deep that you will never see the light again. I know that. I have felt it. I have felt it recently. I mean, I felt it. But there is light. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. If you just keep taking one foot in front of the other. And again, some days you're going to go backwards. I promise you. Some days you're going to go sideways and backwards, and you're going to flip and all the things. But if you just keep going, this will be your testimony one day.
Yeah. And another thing to that, you're not alone.
Not alone.
You're not the first person this has happened to. You're not the last person this will happen to.
That, but you
it feels the world itself is telling you that you're by yourself. We talked about this in touch, and maybe this is a different episode because I do have another question for Melanie. But I don't know if we still have time. Brooke, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
My kid just did give me a sticky note though. When this is done and when is dinner?
Be like, figure it out.
That's right.
There's cereal in the cabinet.
There you go. See, a couple of things. One, you're not alone. The world's going to tell you you're alone. Your friends are not going to know how to deal with your shit. We've literally discussed this on an episode. I do want to hear about this from Melanie, but maybe in another episode because I have a different question that I think is more important.
I got lots to say about that, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
you should see. You really should see our shared note. Although I haven't been into it lately, I assume it still is continuing.
Maybe we should talk about that.
I know.
But there are other friends. If you're all alone, then there's people together with that with you, right? So that's how that'll work.
Oh, you're frozen.
Okay, we're unfrozen. Sorry about that, everybody. Technical difficulties again. Should we start the episode over?
No, my God. I can't do it again.
Take 3.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
I'm gonna need to find some recreation if that's gonna happen.
Edit. Pause. Okay, so but the point is, you are not alone. It feels like you are, and it's okay to feel that way. If you feel that way, totally fine.
Yep.
Feel that way, and then you won't after a while. It's okay. It's not your fault. We've talked about this. It is your problem. You got to face that at some point, right? All that.
It's not going to undo itself. That's for sure.
No, it will not.
That is for sure.
It is a painful little necklace to unravel. God damn it.
Yeah.
But we understand when people go, you're going to be fine. And you're like, fuck you. It's like
you.
It's like if you broke a leg and someone's like, I got to run. And you're like, oh,
yeah. It's going off
asshole.
of the episode last week where you were talking about people saying, oh, they're in a better place. Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Like those phrases people say to you and you're like,
yeah, please don't ever say that.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
But you're not rude. So you go, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Yeah, it just feels fake to even say this.
One time I was rude though. I will be honest.
Good.
I know.
Yeah, honestly, people said good. People are like, oh, I know. I lost a dog once. And you're like, that is hard.
That's yeah.
Don't
And
you, how dare
go to
you.
hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but I do have a question.
Okay.
Because you remarried.
I am.
Okay, so there's so many. That's a can of worms.
That
right?
is an onion, my friend.
I actually remember sitting with Kat the day you were was it the day before or the day you were getting married, and just the total freak down on the phone. I think that's how she connected us, really, or maybe it was just after that she did. But
okay,
we were sitting on the couch, and you called, and she was like, "Sorry, my friend is about to get married again," and she's just, she's flipping out.
I was not okay.
Can we peel that little juicy onion?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you want to know?
Do you know, though, I'm going to throw this little thing in. If we were to not give up all of Melanie's little onions.
We could do another episode.
Yeah, we can bring Melanie back and unpeel more onions, and people will be excited.
This is true. Maybe we should leave this as a teaser. Maybe this is the sizzle of that steak.
This is the teaser.
Look at me doing your job.
Okay, when I was getting remarried.
Yeah. Well, and even the journey, feel, because the guilt you must have felt when you decided to date. Like I told my wife, I'm like, if you die, like I would only consider dating Ana de Armas or something like that, or Sofia Vergara.
Listen, I'm not doing it again. I mean, I tell my best friend all the time, God forbid, anything were to happen to her husband and mine, we're just going to be roommates forever. I'm
I don't think I could do it. I mean, but maybe I don't know. Again, I've never experienced that.
And as Melanie's going to show, and as we have done, you also understand the value in having these experiences and these people in your lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had another baby after
yeah.
that's
that's when I was
so it's and I don't regret her one bit, and I know Melanie doesn't regret getting remarried. But
he's a saint. Oh my goodness, he's a saint.
Dang. That is a good one for
everything you deserve. Look at him getting squirmy.
I know.
I was so that's
there's a saint.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we'll leave that for another episode then.
Okay.
Do we have any
that
closing?
Means you have to bring me back.
That's right.
We'll think about it.
That's the intention. We'll think about it.
If we get the technical difficulties figured out.
Yeah.
For next time.
I think we took care of it this time.
Yeah.
Now I know what I'm doing.
That we figured it all out.
So then the last bit to close out with is and this will be the last question unless Brooke has more stuff to ask you, but when you think back and you look at yourself, what advice would you give Mel from
good question,
day one? I mean, I know we kind of talked to someone who's already kind of going through this right now, but specifically to you, what would you say that you didn't get to hear from someone back then?
Man, what would I say? I think one of the biggest things I've learned through this journey, and I tell people when I meet somebody who is going through loss of some sort, even divorce, right? Because divorce can be a huge, huge loss.
Oh, it sucks.
You have to give yourself grace.
Beautiful.
I mean, you have to give yourself grace. I beat myself up so much about how I was grieving, because you think that there's a way to do it. And I worried so much about what people would say or think, or, I just felt like some people were doing it better than me, or I was really fucking this up somehow, some way. And that alone, that shame and that guilt on top of everything else that you're going through, to not truly give yourself grace and really understand that you are doing the best you know how today. And maybe tomorrow it looks different. Maybe 2 hours from now it looks different. But at this moment, right here, right now, with whatever decision you've made, with whatever has come out of your mouth, with whatever emotion you're feeling, you are doing the best that you know how at this moment.
That's so intense.
I know.
Yeah, because I bet when you were going through that, you were thinking also of I would imagine I would think of all the arguments I had with my wife that I shouldn't have, or stupid things we argued about.
Yeah. I mean, God, I should have been a better wife. I should have not.
Oh my God, that guilt. Oh
my
dude.
God. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
what
you
I would
cannot.
do, like I used to get
cannot.
so annoyed when he would leave like the toilet seat open or the dirty socks would be on the ground. Like what I wouldn't have done for one more toilet seat open.
Mm-hmm.
For a dirty sock.
For a dirty sock.
For a pizza crust left on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of healing too, is being able to forgive yourself for not only having, wished or, for not having that, that option, and also allowing yourself to let go of the what ifs and to let go of, what I wouldn't give, or this should have, I mean, there were plenty of times that, I got upset with Logan, and I used to think about him and go, oh my God, this was, he was only, 9 when he died, and I said this to him, or I got upset with him for this, or, and I know that I was a very good mother for him.
Yeah.
I do.
Yes.
And I'm also human, but that didn't matter. He's gone, right? He's gone. And I said all of these things, and I never should. I found a video one time where I had, he was recording. He loved his little camera, and he was recording, and I didn't know it. And I was yelling at him about his cereal because he made such an insistence on me buying this specific oatmeal, and then he refused to eat it. And I was like, I got upset with him. And when I saw that video, when I found it, I wanted to die. I literally wanted to die.
Yeah.
And now I can look back at that and be like, you know what? That had nothing to do with his death. The what ifs have nothing. There's nothing I could have controlled.
100 different decisions leading up to him hurting himself on that boat that day that would have changed this story.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could go through it. You go through the what ifs. What if I'd done this? If I'd only done this? If the if onlys and all the things. And, and I think that's having grace today is still so important, and something I tell myself too, because I would be
Take a
lying
shot.
to
Take a
you.
shot.
It's
The dogs
Amazon's
agree.
here. I would be lying to you if I said that I still don't get mad at my husband today. And I have that perspective. For sure, I have that perspective, and arguing or getting upset and coming back from it looks different for sure. But I still get mad at him.
Doggies.
Hold on a sec. Those dogs are loud.
Amazon. I have 4 dogs, so
Oh my God.
I know. But yeah, still having that grace today, right? Like I still will yell at my kids. I still, we're human.
Right.
We're human.
Yep. And I think too, it's about, how those interactions go in the aftermath, how you choose to participate in those relationships, after having experienced what you did or learned what you did, and what you don't want to do, and how you don't want to live your life, or the relationships, how you don't want them to go.
Yeah. And
I
that's
think
so
is
part
huge.
of like our next conversation about getting remarried, because
Woo!
yeah.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, this has been
Wow.
officially the longest episode. I could talk to you
And
for hours.
thank you
I
to the
know.
audience if you have stuck it
Yeah,
out.
if you
this
stuck it
they
out,
will.
like,
This has been great.
Yeah.
This has
Post
been
on
great.
the post like code word Amazon that you just heard my dogs bark. That way
Yeah.
we know you listened the whole time.
What are you giving? If they say Amazon, what are you giving?
Oh, I'm giving $100 Amazon gift card
to
No shit.
to
Who?
whoever comments.
whoever shares. How about whoever shares the short? I don't know, the Instagram
make
post.
something?
What do you think, Andreas? What?
We could pick something. We could do like whoever we could post the
The
episode.
67th person to comment Amazon.
Yes. Let's do that. 67 person to comment Amazon.
Well, then people won't want to, and then it'll be this game.
I
And I
know.
don't know.
Yeah, whatever you
how
guys
that'll
come up
work
with,
out.
I'm good.
We'll figure something out, but it'll
Yeah.
have to do with 67. Hell fucking yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, he was 6'7". His football number was 6'7". This is, again, something for a different day, but this is our sign that he's with us. Yeah. My kids are like 6'7", like whatever.
Yeah, it's a whole new. The kids are doing it these days.
Yeah.
I don't even know
Us-
what that
us
is.
youth.
I know, so stupid.
Us youth are doing it.
Yeah.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
I hate that my kids
Gets the
have
people going.
secret languages and
I know.
stuff that I
I
don't
know.
have.
It's great.
It reminds me of when I was their age and had the same thing that my parents
Unbelievable.
do.
No saint remembers when they were a priest. All right.
That's right.
On that note,
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank
you so much for everyone for
sitting
listening.
in with us and sharing.
That's
Absolutely.
right. And if you like the podcast, leave us a review. My name's Andres Gamboa. This is Berkshire, and Mel has been with us. Brockmeier-Jordy. Like Jordan. Jordy.
Nice try.
I almost said Jody. Jordy. All right.
Whatever.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.